Don't want to start off the week on a black pill, but here's the facts. There's too much money in cancer research for it to ever be solved. Okay, so when we ever get little pieces of information when it comes to cancer research and some breakthroughs when it comes to different left of field treatments, you got to take this with a bit of caution. But if this is actually a new development that's out there and finding out that cancer might be a metabolic disease, there are some treatments that are out there and we got some hope. So let us take a look. Cancer is not a genetic disease. It is a metabolic disease. Thomas N. Seyfried, a well-known scholar in cancer research and a professor of biology at Boston College, told Epoch Times, "Once people understand that cancer is a metabolic disease, then you will begin to see a very big reduction in death and greatly improved quality of life and survival." All right, where are your receipts, my guy? According to the statistics of the American Cancer Society, although the incidence of cancer in the United States have been declining slowly since the beginning of the 21st century, if we look at it over an extended period of time, we will find that incidences of cancer is actually increasing, not decreasing. Yeah, I would imagine so. In 1975, approximately 400 out of every 100,000 Americans had cancer. By 2018, that number had grown to roughly 445, an increase of more than 10%. Yeah, we can do math. It's about 10.5%, in fact. Anyways, from a perspective of cancer mortality. In the past nearly 100 years, the number of women who have died of cancer per 100,000 Americans has gradually declined from roughly 190 in 1930 to 130 in 2022, whereas cancer deaths among men is probably up, right? Rose from around 160 in the 30s to 180 in 2020. But women most affected, right? That's where all of that money needs to be squirreled away for breast cancer research, right? Interesting. In 2022, nearly 2 million new cancer cases are expected in the United States, and over 500,000 people are expected to die from it. Oh, that sucks. That means on every day, the average 5,000 Americans are diagnosed with cancer, and over 1,600 people will die from it. Yeah, that sucks. I know far too many people who have been yeeted from this world from cancer, and I would love to see it eradicated, but I also understand that there's way too much money invested into it for us to ever find a reasonable cure, prevention, or anything like that. Oh, trust me, if Big Pharma can somehow find a little pill that somebody needs to take every single day to prevent you from ever getting cancer, that'll be about the only time that we ever find a solution for it. But until that point in time, man, don't hold your breath, because that might cause cancer too. Who knows? Why are there so many people dying from cancer? Seyfried asked. Because the theory is wrong. The theory underlies cancer is incorrect. Cancer is still generally considered a genetic disorder. Medical textbooks use somatic mutation theory to explain the cause of cancer. These textbooks state that cancer is caused by mutations in the proto-octogenes or tumor suppressor genes, and the mutated cells then multiply indefinitely and form malignant tumors. It's not a tumor. However, Seyfried mentioned a number of facts in this interview and in his published research that an inconsistencies with the above theories. Okay, some cancers do not have genetic and chromosomal mutations. Some carcinogens do not cause gene mutation. Cancer mutations also occur in normal cells, but some do not develop further into cancerous cells. The result of studying cancer as a genetic disorder is the development of personalized treatment or precision medicine, but there are off-target effects for some customized cancer precision medicines. And finally, ancient people for thousands of years ago rarely had cancer, nor did the indigenous people living in natural environment. I guess you can test if you find any foreign bodies inside anybody's body after, they die and all that stuff. It's interesting. It seems like a disease of the new world, but I don't know. I guess maybe a lack of proof doesn't disprove a theory, but okay. Seyfried also conducted experiments on nuclear and cytoplasmic plantation, proving evidence of the possibility that cancer is not a genetic disorder. Sweet. Under regular circumstances, normal cells develop into normal cells with controlled growth, while cancer cells develop into cancerous cells with uncontrolled growth. All right. Genes are stored in the nucleus. Okay, yes. Basic biology we have here. When the nucleus of a cancer cell was implanted into a cytoplasm containing normal mitochondria, the cell developed into a normal cell anyway. According to the somatic mutation theory, a cell with a cancer cell nucleus should have developed into a cancer cell. However, when the researchers implanted the normal nucleus into a cancerous cytoplasm, the abnormal mitochondria then found it still developed into a cancer cell. Interesting. Okay, very, very interesting. So normal cell cytoplasm plus a cancer cell nucleus creates normal cells, whereas the mitochondria, which you guys all remember from your high school biology classes, the powerhouse of the cell, that ends up creating cancerous cells. I can see where this is going now. That's interesting. Okay, so the theory that cancer is a metabolic disorder was first proposed about 100 years ago by a well-known German scientist named Otto Warburg. Normal cells break down glucose through aerobic respiration, but Warburg observed the cancerous cells are different. Cancer cells obtain energy through fermentation, even in an aerobic environment. Thus, Warburg proposed aerobic respiratory insufficiency is the origin of cancer. Seyfried's research adds another metabolic pathway in cancer cells that Warburg did not observe. Cancer cells also get a lot of energy from the fermentation of the amino acid called glutamine, which updated Warburg's theory. The truth, Seyfried said, is that cancer, cannot breathe. It cannot get enough through the oxygen, or energy, through the oxygen. They can only get energy through fermentation. All cancers can survive without oxygen, but they cannot live without sugar, glucose, and the amino acid glutamine. Interesting, because we talked about how cancer is fueled by sugar beforehand, but also the addition of glutamine on top of this is quite interesting, because glutamine is also very abundant in some of your skeletal muscles that are in there. That could be very interesting. Okay, cellular aerobic respiration mainly takes place in mitochondria. Mitochondria, which are responsible for reparations. No reparations. Nobody's exchanging money within your cells. Respiration are damaged and hollowed in a major types of cancer. The cristae, the wrinkled and wavy structures of the mitochondrial structure are cluttered and defective. The abnormality of mitochondrial structure will change the function of mitochondria, resulting in the inability of cells to obtain energy through oxidative metabolism. This changes the cell's metabolism from relying primarily on oxidation to fermentation. Seyfried further explained the various abnormalities in cancer cells are caused by the loss of normal function of cell mitochondria due to various reasons, including carcinogens, radiation, pollution, inflammation, age, and viruses. A large number of reactive oxygen species, ROS, will be produced when mitochondria are damaged, further attacking and destroying the nucleus. Very interesting. So this is all predicated on corrupted mitochondria. Furthermore, Seyfried talked about the phenomenon, that is, cancers with myriad variants share a consistent metastatic process. First, individual cells become cancerous and form tumors. The tumor cells then spread through the blood vessels and circulatory systems to other parts of the body, forming new tumors. Why do all cancers have the same metastatic process? How does this relate to the theory that cancer is a metabolic disorder? Seyfried said that the mitochondrial metabolic theory explains cancer metastasis. All right. Better than the somatic mutation theory. After macrophages engulf and fuse with the defective proto-cancer cells, the normally functioning mitochondria are gradually replaced by dysfunctional mitochondria due to the inflammation. The immune cells, macrophages, have the ability to travel around the body. As a result, these cancer cells, which are fusions of proto-cancer cells and macrophages, spread throughout the body. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I wonder how quickly that process takes place, because normally it's always, okay, early detection is better than prevention, all that type of stuff as well, or on par with prevention as well, okay? That's why you don't want the cancer to metastasize, and then you start with, basic lymphoma, and then you just end up with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, or, pancreatic cancer, or whatever. It just spreads throughout the rest of the body. So I guess understanding it better will lead to better treatment, which, hey man, that's all great. Okay, so Seyfried believes the existing cancer cancer treatment system is broken. He said that once people understand the metabolic theory of cancer, treatment like chemotherapy and radiotherapy will be replaced by new treatments. Based on the theory, Seyfried said the team developed a press pulse therapy, which is a cocktail treatment consisting of the ketogenic diet, my man, glutamate inhibitor medicine, and stress management. Keto diet, that just totally makes sense because it triggers autophagy, ergo cleaning out all of the old degenerate different cells that are within your body, so that makes sense. Cancer cells cannot obtain the energy as ketone bodies cannot be fermented. Oh yeah, and also switching over to ketones in the process of becoming ketogenic. That makes sense as well. Ergo, you're not creating any sugar within the body, so if there were any cancer cells that are in there, they would just shrivel up and die. Purpose of the ketogenic diet, combined with basic drugs, is to control the ratio of glucose and ketone bodies in the blood to an average ideal range, where inhibiting the ability of cancer cells to acquire glutamine. Okay, interesting. The important aspect of press pulse therapy is stress control and emotional management. Seyfried emphasized in the interview with people with mental stress had a direct relationship with the development of cancer. As a result, cancer cannot be controlled, easing the emotional and stress levels of the patient and his or her family can further stabilize the patient's psychological and physical condition. A 38-year-old man developed symptoms in February of 2016 and was subsequently diagnosed with glioblastoma multiforme, the most common and malignant form of primary adult brain cancer. Oy vey. After 20 months of ketogenic diet therapy and the completion of chemotherapy and radiotherapy, the patient's tumor decreased by approximately 1.5 centimeters in diameter. Cool. Where did it start though? Because if it started off at 1.6 and then after a year or just about 2 years of therapy, that's not very good, but okay. He seemed in good health with no apparent clinical or neurological deficits. 54-year-old man, a 45-year-old woman, they all seen benefits from that as well. So, what can you do to try to keep cancer away? Again, prevention is the best cure, obviously. As for how far an average person can maintain a healthy metabolism and prevent cancer, Seyfried said that by keeping the mitochondria in cells healthy, people are less likely to get cancer. That's kind of what his entire theory rests upon, okay? Don't be creating too much sugar within your bloodstream, okay? Make sure that those mitochondria continue to be healthy, therefore they don't get corrupted and create cancerous cells. Now, he said that this can be achieved through a certain period of fasting, drinking water only, low-carb diet, and exercise. Plenty of videos of that on my channel. He also emphasized the high-carb and unnutritious foods, such as junk food, can cause cancer, and is advised to stay away from such foods. It's not just cancer. Diseases like Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, and obesity, among others, are all related to the Western diet. Yes, sir! And that's why I'm such a strong opponent to that nonsense way of eating, and why some form of the ketogenic diet, even if you don't want to go whole hog and you're still too scared about eating too many fats, which you shouldn't be, as long as you do it properly and correctly, you can still do a paleo diet or even the old tried and true Mediterranean diet, because I'd like to see how many of those old Mediterraneans are dropping dead of cancer. Not really a common thing that you hear about, and a bunch of those people who adhere to that policy and adhere to those dieting practices tend to live a long old life. That's of course, I haven't researched any of that stuff, and I'm just going off of pure conjecture at this point, but this guy's got the facts, he's got the knowledge, and he seems to be dispelling it out there for the world to notice, and hopefully you take something from that. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.